Well, happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a really wonderful weekend, not only with your family, but worshiping the Lord. If you were not able to be part of worship yesterday, go to our website and you can watch our worship services from Sunday at First Baptist Church. And I encourage you to do that. Today, in our Bible reading plan, we're in Genesis chapter 21. And this is the chapter where Isaac is born. Abraham and Sarah finally have that child they've been promised and longing for a long, long time. Abraham is 100 years old when Isaac is born. And you remember that back in chapter 12 of Genesis, Abraham was 75 years old when God called him to leave his home and extended family in Haran and moved to the Promised Land, where he would be a sojourner for the rest of his life, and promised that through Abraham, God would bless the world. Well, 25 years have passed between the time God first promised Abraham he'd make a great nation of his descendants, therefore promised to give him an heir, and Isaac's birth. 25 long years. And some of the verses that popped out to me are verses 1 and 2 in chapter 21. Then the Lord took note of Sarah, as he had said, because God had said previously that Sarah would give birth to her own child. Because remember, until Isaac was born, she had been barren. And at the end of verse 1, the Lord did for Sarah as he had promised. Then verse 2, so Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. And here's the point I want to make. God always keeps his word, always keeps his promises. And secondly, God does things in his time. And his time is not always our time. During that 25 years between when God promised Abraham and Sarah that their descendants would become a great nation, there were times during that 25 years they became impatient, especially Sarah. And all of the problems between Sarah and her Egyptian maid Hagar and Hagar's child that she had with Abraham, at Sarah's instigation, by the way, Ishmael, all the problems that came because of Hagar and Ishmael arose because Sarah, at the 15-year mark, I think it was, of that 25-year period, became impatient. And when we become impatient and try to force God's hand, we become impatient and try to find man's way to do God's work. Usually it doesn't go well. And it did not in this case. And you need to remember that God has a plan and a timeline. And if you get impatient with God's timeline, you may create some problems for yourself and miss out on fulfilling God's plan for your life. 25 years, long time to wait. But notice that it says God did what he had said he would do, kept his promise. Yeah, it took 25 years, but he kept his promise. And it happened at the appointed time. God knew the right moment for Isaac to be born. God knows the right moment for the things that he's planned in your life. You just have to trust him. Be patient and trust him. So I guess the main point I want to make today is it is natural and human for us to grow impatient sometimes when God's timeline takes longer than ours. But impatience can cause us to create some messes. So be patient, wait on the Lord, know that he'll keep his promise, do what he said, and he always has the appointed time, the right time for it. Trust him, wait on him. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.